Hello, hello, hello. Can we hear me now? Can you hear me now? I think so. Let's go, let's go, let's go. All right. All right. I do believe the link now works, so we should be good to go. Thank you, everybody. All right, we're just gonna give it a few more minutes for everyone to join. We send out a new email. Do appreciate the people on here that follow the channel. We're able to jump over sooner. Um, part of being a small team is not having an AAV team. And I swear, I did check everything a bunch of times before this because this happened last time, and that's not fun. I value your time, so I don't want to waste it. We're just going to give it a couple more minutes for more people to join, and we'll go from there. Regardless, this will be recorded, and so we'll have a full version for everyone to see afterwards. All right. So the email is still being sent through our systems. But for the couple people that are here right now, do you have any questions before we start? It doesn't have to relate to the presentation, but happy to answer anything. as we said here. Apologies for this again. I do take this very seriously. So we will figure out why this didn't work the last time. I'm just glad the microphone is now working now. Hopefully everyone can hear me. All right. We're almost there. I'm going to give it one more minute before getting going. I know we definitely lost a few people on this transition, which does pain my soul personally. But we'll figure it out. We'll figure this out going forward. This is going to be a repeat thing that we do quite often. All right. So it looks like we are actually getting people to come on now. So let's. Interesting. All right. The email is not showing sent. That's weird. Unique clicks. Interesting. All right. Well, for all y'all that are here, I'm gonna give another minute or two just because it does seem like our email system is a little lagging behind. Thank you, HubSpot. But anyways, I appreciate all y'all. Thanks for coming. Apologies for the stream setup. I swear we're gonna get better this every step of the way. We did test everything, but you know, didn't work out. So we'll figure it out next time. I'm gonna give it one more minute before we start the actual presentation, but I can give you guys some juicy behind the scenes at Markman Capital. What's going on? We're actually going to be releasing to the DCC subscribers either end of next week or end of the following week. So very soon, we'll just go end of the following week. A totally searchable, indexable database built on a Obsidian of all 5,000 of our past letters. It's going to be super cool. You'll be able to actually dig into any of our past letters. You'll be able to search it for anything. And it'll have its entire scope limited to things we've just written about. It's going to be pretty incredible. I don't know any other service that even has remotely anything close to this. The closest I've seen is another service that brags about 550 back pages. This is going to be over 5,000. The one thing we're waiting to launch it on is we're actually working with another company called DocSpot. But we're going to actually be able to speak to it. So you'll be able to ask Markman Capital's corpus of information questions, and it'll answer it exclusively off of our research. We're very, very excited to launch this. It'll be free and included for all current subscribers. We actually have seen other services, nothing of this robust and nothing in the finance space, but we have seen other sectors, particularly in the entrepreneurship field, people charging upwards of a couple $100s a month just for access to something similar. So we're going to give this away for free to all current subscribers. We're very excited to launch this. All right, we're just going to get going. I don't want to waste any more of your time. This is my fault, so I apologize. All right, so we're going to dig right in. And before we dig in, though, please, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat, and we'll answer them down below. So today, we're going to be going over AI's data infrastructure. This is 3 buy now picks, 2 to watch, and 1 moonshot. I'm going to breeze over this, but if you want these slides to follow along, the phone number is in the pinned comment. This is a website that's fully optimized for your phone or for desktop that has all the exact same slides. So that way you can keep them with you forever. You also will be, if you do text, you will be prompted also for a full 15-page guide that does basically elaborate on the things we talked about here and also gives all of the price points and targets for all the things for all the 6 picks that we talk about. There also are 3 bonus sovereign AI picks, so companies that will benefit from the sovereign AI revolution. But I'll talk about more of that later. But we think this is a very valuable guide for you and everyone else. All right, so let's get started. All right, the transition from legacy data centers to AI factories will be worth trillions of dollars in capital expenditures. That's a quote from our Lord and Savior, Jensen Huang. And look, I'm going to start with a number that's going to sound impossible. Right now, as we speak, there are data centers consuming 132 kilowatts of power per server rack. And for context, that's enough electricity to power 100 homes per rack. And these facilities have thousands of rack. Just think about that data consumption. 5 years ago, a server rack drew only 5 to 10 kilowatts. And we've increased power density by 1,300% in half a decade. But here's what nobody is talking about. We didn't build this infrastructure to store more cat videos. No, we built it because artificial intelligence doesn't just retrieve information, it manufactures intelligence in real time. And Jensen Huang breaks the AI revolution into 5 technical layers, and so do we. And if you've seen our prior episodes on layers 4 or 5, you know that we actually have the exact same setup, which was convenient when Jensen launched this. But today we're diving into layer 3, which is the data infrastructure layer. And this is the management and processing layer that turns raw chips into AI factories. And here's the investment Wall Street is completely missing. It's the entire world is compute constrained. There isn't enough AI processing capabilities to meet demand, not even close. And that's the real bottleneck to this entire AI economy. And I'm going to show you 6 companies today that solve it. All right. Before I tell you about these 6 AI companies, let me explain to you why you should listen. Here's the uncomfortable truth. 97% of stocks underperform the S&P 500 over time. That's 97%. And most investors chase every shiny object, but we do the opposite. We only invest in the 3% of companies that don't suck. I'm Joe Markman, and I'm from Markman Capital Insight. We've been doing this for 25 plus years. My father, John, won the Gerald Loeb Award, and that's the Pulitzer Prize of financial journalism. He also happens to have 2 Pulitzer Prizes as well, and he invented Microsoft Stock Scatter. And this was the first online stock screening tool exclusively for the DIY retail investor. Markman Capital survived the dot-com crash, the 2008 financial crisis, and the 2022 COVID market meltdown, successfully pulling our clients' money out of the market before all of those events. And we have over 10,000 elite investors that follow our research through our several different newsletters. And here's the bottom line. We don't chase hype. We find the rare companies that actually win. And today, I'm going to show you why layer 3, the AI infrastructure, contains some of those rare 3% of companies that Wall Street is completely missing. The entire world is compute constrained. I'm going to repeat that again. The entire world is compute constrained. From Fortune 500 companies to sovereign nations, everyone is competing for limited AI processing capabilities. This fundamental scarcity creates unprecedented investment opportunities for companies and who control access to these computational resources. So for today, I'm going to be going over 6 picks. 3 of them you should buy now. 2 you should watch for better entry points, and 1 is a moonshot that can make early investors a fair amount of money. And let me tell you what changed everything. For 20 years, data centers were digital warehouses. Netflix stored movies on servers. You clicked play. The server sent you a file, and Facebook stored photos. You opened the app, and it retrieved them for your timeline. It was simple storage retrieval. You put something there, you ask for it, it comes back. But AI doesn't work that way at all. When you ask ChatGPT a question, that answer didn't exist 5 seconds ago. It was manufactured in real time using parallel processing across thousands of graphic chips working in perfect coordination. We went from digital libraries to digital factories, and factories have very different infrastructure requirements than warehouses. Think about the difference between a grain silo and a steel mill. Both are massive industrial buildings, and both store raw materials. But steel mills need blast furnaces, conveyor systems, precise temperature controls, and enormous amounts of power. That's the transformation happening right now in data centers. Traditional server racks are 5 to 10 kilowatts. Modern AI racks require 100 to 132 kilowatts. And you can't just add more servers to an existing building and call it an AI data center. You need industrial grade power infrastructure. You need liquid cooling systems. You need entirely new building architectures. It's not just a simple plug and play on the old model. No, you need entirely new everything. And the Mag 7 have committed around $650 to $680 billion so far in total capex just for 2026. Amazon alone, $200 billion. Google, up to $185 billion. Microsoft, $145 billion. Meta, up to $135 billion. And Tesla, $20 billion. And this is up 70% from 2025 for AI-specific buildouts. And we thought last year was crazy. They're all committing tens of billions to what they call AI factories. But here's what creates the investment opportunity. Building this infrastructure will take years. And the companies that already have compute capabilities, they control the spigot while everyone else is building pipes. And here's where layer 3 gets fascinating from an investment perspective. You can't just bolt 100,000 graphic chips together and expect them to work. No. You need orchestration software, the conductor that turns individual chips into a unified supercomputer. Imagine trying to coordinate 100,000 violinists playing the same symphony simultaneously. If you miss a beat anywhere, the whole performance would collapse. And that's what layer 3 software does every microsecond. The software needs to be able to handle GPUs being down or any other non-synchronistic event that could occur while computing. And there are a lot. And this is actually where NVIDIA's real dominance lives. It's not just in the chips. That's layer 4. It's in the software that coordinates those chips. CUDA is the platform that makes GPU programming possible. And we've talked about this many times in our letters and in our past presentations. But they own the hardware and operating system that manages it. And that's what also makes them so essential. It's not just their chips, it's the software. But because these AI applications generate intelligence on demand, these systems need something called test time scaling. Simple questions get quick answers. Complex problems automatically get more computational power. It's like having a factory that can instantly reconfigure its production lines based on what's being manufactured. Managing 100,000 GPUs means something will break every few minutes. The orchestration software must detect failures instantly and route around them without users ever knowing. If there was a lag in your ChatGPT or your Claude longer than the usual thinking, you would notice. And so this software has to account for that. This isn't traditional IT management. It's not at all. This is industrial process controls, more like an oil an oil refinery or something along those lines. It's like managing, or like even a power plant. It's much more demanding. But the output here is intelligence, not a physical item. But now, here's something that most people will miss entirely. In these massive AI clusters, the bottleneck isn't individual chip speed anymore. It's the connections between them. And let's take a moment to pause, think about your brain for a second. Your neurons are incredibly fast, but what makes you intelligent is the 100 trillion connections between them. It's the same principle in AI factories. Traditional copper cables generate too much heat at these AI data center speeds. The industry is now rapidly shifting to optical interconnects, which is using light instead of electricity to move data. So now data moves at the speed of light. And these are precision engineering companies. This creates opportunities for specialized companies like Astera Labs, Coherent, Marvel, and Credo. They build the smart cables and fabric switches that move data between AI racks with minimal latency. And these aren't commodity products. They're precision engineered solutions with barriers to entry. And we're a fan of Credo and Coherent, and we have in the past been of Marvel within the DCC letter. These are not any of the 6 companies today, but these are worth watching, and we'll probably bring them back into the portfolio at some point soon this year. But we don't think this is where the opportunity is today. The industry learned from past vendor lock-in mistakes, and that's why we're seeing open standards like Ultra Accelerator Link, UAL for short, emerging everywhere. And this allows different types of AI accelerators to work together on the same network. And this will create opportunities for best of breed component companies, companies that just specialize in components. But the real opportunity isn't in these components. It's in the companies that already have functioning AI factories. Because remember, the whole world is compute constrained. So while we're building future compute, the compute that we do have now is in the most demand. And here's where the story actually gets really, really big. Every developed nation has decided they need their own AI infrastructure. They call it sovereign AI. And this national security concern is driving countries to build domestic AI infrastructure rather than relying on foreign cloud providers. And this is from Saudi Arabia to Japan to the EU. Every sovereign AI initiative represents trillions in government-backed investment. I mean, let's think about this realistically. Would you let some other country process all of your emails, documents, or strategic information? Of course not. We would never do that. Especially our government would never do that. I mean, I barely let big LLMs host my personal AI assistant. I've actually got a desktop computer I'm setting up to host everything locally. And that's exactly what is happening with AI unless nations build their own capabilities. So nations must. But here's the key insight about all of this. For governments, this isn't about return on invested capital. This is about national security. And when capital isn't constrained by traditional ROI metrics, spending goes absolutely vertical. Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, Norway's government pension fund, Singapore's GIC, they're all committing massive capital to domestic AI infrastructure. We're talking trillions in government and sovereign wealth fund money flowing into layer 3 infrastructure. And they have patient capital. Sovereign wealth funds invest with decades-long timeframes, providing stable capital for infrastructure buildouts without quarterly earnings pressure. That means the recognition of how much value is being created by some of these companies will take years to be fully recognized within the markets. This is why it's an opportunity now. This also creates additional opportunities for regional champions. This would be like SoftBank in Japan, partnering with global providers. This would be like Deutsche Telekom in Europe, which is building domestic clouds for the EU. Every region will need a local AI manufacturer. But sovereign money moves slowly, and the smart investors are positioning in the companies that already have what governments want to build. And this is what creates the investment opportunity of the decade. Now, the entire world is compute constrained. I'm going to say that a few times if you haven't already noticed. There simply isn't enough AI processing capability to meet demand. Every corporation wants to build AI capabilities. Every government wants sovereign AI, but there's not enough compute to go around. Compute scarcity creates clear winners, and only a handful of companies can solve the global bottleneck in AI processing capabilities. And they're currently trading at software multiples while building industrial infrastructure for the future. All right, I'm going to give you 6 companies that solve this problem, broken into 3 categories based on current valuation and timing. Timing here is the important portion. All right, so first, we're going to do our 3 buy now picks. We have Microsoft, Oracle, and Hut 8. First, let's dive into Microsoft. Microsoft Azure has become one of the world's largest AI factories, and they're manufacturing intelligence for OpenAI, their own Copilot products, and thousands of enterprise customers. Wall Street sees this as simply a software company, simply as Microsoft Office. The reality is they're running one of the planet's most sophisticated intelligence manufacturing operations. They produce floating point numbers. Those floating point numbers are just being used internally by their software. And this is a point I'm going to bring up with another company that's a little more illustrative, but a lot of times these intelligence factors are hiding in plain sight because the customer is themselves. So if you're looking to add more to your current Microsoft positions or you want to establish a new one, the entry price of $390 is what you should aim for. And we have an 18-month target of $690. That would be a 77% increase from the from the entry price. All right, second is Oracle. Oracle has quietly become the platform of choice for AI training through their bare metal architecture. While AWS and Google still use virtualization layers that slow things down, Oracle removes that overhead entirely. They call it OCI for short, and it's purpose built for AI workloads. They have the compute capacity, and it's optimized for exactly what the market needs most. And they're also winning major sovereign AI contracts, partnering with governments globally and leveraging database customer relationships for infrastructure sales. So what does that mean? It means Oracle's already embedded with the world's largest governments and companies. They trust Oracle. This is the big thing here. Trust is going to be huge in this AI age. And since they already trust Larry Ellison personally or know him personally, they trust his company. Who are these companies going to go to use compute now? Probably Oracle. And also in the future, who are they going to ask to build out their data centers and then manage them? Probably Oracle. So we have an entry price if you want to add more to your current position or start a new one of $134. So wait till it hits that. And then we have a 18-month target of $390. This is one of our largest speculative gainers in this presentation, and we think it'll go up about 191% from our entry. All right, HUT 8. This is our sleeper pick. Bitcoin mining infrastructure that's actually pivoting to AI compute. They essentially already had the industrial power connections, cooling systems, and data center facilities while they were mining Bitcoin. And they turned into an energy infrastructure leader after they secured a landmark 15-year triple net lease for a 245 megawatts of AI compute capacity. And this is at the River Bend campus in Louisiana. This project itself is valued at about $7 billion over the base term, but there's a potential for it to scale to $17.7 billion through expansions. And they're partnering with AI cloud provider FluidStack. And the thing about this deal that's kind of crazy is they actually got Google to be the financial guarantor for this deal. I think it's because Google owns FluidStack, but basically they went from like a credit C company to a credit A plus company backed by Google. So this is what really brought them into the forefront. And they're the ones actually that are training Anthropic's high performance models. And so they basically changed over from cryptocurrency to artificial intelligence, which is crazy. It's the same infrastructure, but a higher margin business. So you're making Bitcoin, and that, depending on the price, can be a pretty high margin business. But you realize that your current infrastructure can make floating point numbers instead of mining for Bitcoin, and the floating point numbers have a much higher margin than Bitcoin does. So our entry price is $45. And our 18-month target is, we have this in the portfolio as well, but this is $65. All right. So second, these are the two to watch. This is Amazon and Google. And you must be wondering, what makes them different than Microsoft, Oracle, and HUT 8? Well, Microsoft, Oracle, and HUT 8 are all thought of as primarily software companies and have taken hit because of that perception. The answer is they do make software, but they are also AI factories. It's kind of what I was touching on earlier. Amazon and Google are not thought of this way at all. And so they did not take a hit from the recent SaaS is dead frenzy. And hence why we are watching them for better entry points. All right, first, Amazon Web Services. They control massive AI compute capacity, but they're using it for their own products first. Alexa, shopping recommendations, logistics optimizations, and then they're selling their excess to the market. The business model works, and they haven't corrected in price as much. So we want to wait for a better entry point. This all being said, this is really what we're touching on here. These companies aren't necessarily thought of as pure AI factory plays. And that's because they're not. They're massive, megalithic, Mag 7 companies. But the thing is, they are AI factories. They're just using it all internally, and that doesn't really make the news. What makes the news is when they're selling the AI they're selling the floating point numbers to somebody else. So we're going to wait for this one to fall a little bit. Our entry price is $195, and our 18-month target is $270. This would be a 38% increase from the entry. All right, Google follows the same pattern. Enormous AI infrastructure, but they prioritize their search, YouTube, and advertising algorithms before selling to external customers. And they do have a technical advantage here too, because Google pioneered the transformer and architecture for what's known as the TPU chip. But external cloud businesses remain third behind AWS and Azure. So we want to watch for strategic shifts toward external AI infrastructure sales as the market expands. This is the same opportunity, but we want to wait for a pullback here. Entry price is $265.40, and our 18-month target here is $420. That would be a 58.3% increase from our entry. All right, and this is our third one. This is the Moonshot. This is CoreWeave. This is actually the pure play on AI infrastructure company that's just building capacity exclusively for external customers. There are no internal priorities. Highest bidder wins here. This is the pure play. Fast growth and completely misunderstood by the market. CoreWeave does have best-in-class GPU infrastructure. And here's the kicker. They sell 100% of their capacity to external customers. They are the cloud for hire. So when Stability AI needed to train their image generation models, they used CoreWeave. When other startups need AI compute, they use CoreWeave. So their customer base is already fairly expansive. It's most of the generative AI startups. It's Stability AI, which is a massive platform. And there are enterprises which are seeking dedicated GPU clusters. This is a pure sells to highest bidder with flexible customization, with flexible customized configurations per each project. Their growth trajectory is also pretty astounding. They were a startup. They scaled to an IPO candidate that was backed by NVIDIA, and now they're on the open market. This is a high-risk, high-reward moonshot play on AI infrastructure scarcity. And why is this? Because the entire world is compute constrained. All right, so our entry price here is $67, and our 18-month target is $215. This would be a 221% increase from our entry. But keep in mind, the entire world is compute constrained, and they have it and will sell to you at a premium. And here's what Wall Street misses. They see Microsoft, Oracle, Amazon, Google just as software companies. They're wrong. These are AI factories with massive compute capacity. And the capacity is the scarcest resource on the planet right now. Amazon and Google use their compute for internal products first, then they sell the excess. Microsoft and Oracle are somewhere in between, and CoreWeave sells to the highest bidder, flat out. But they all solve the same fundamental problem. There isn't enough AI compute to meet voracious global demand. There's not. Every Fortune 500 company wants AI capabilities. Every startup is building AI products, and every government wants sovereign AI infrastructure. The companies that control existing compute capacity don't have to build, they just have to optimize pricing. And while everyone else scrambles to construct new facilities, they already have it. So let me tie this back to where we started. And for everyone here, this is where we started with the Indian Bard presentation from two weeks ago. When the printing press destroyed the bards, the smart money wasn't in training more human libraries. It was in building the new infrastructure, paper mills, printing shops, and bookstores. And every transformative technology creates infrastructure investment opportunities. AI infrastructure represents the picks and shovels play of this generation. Layer 3 data infrastructure sits at the critical junction of the AI pyramid. Data infrastructure management sits at the economic center, coordinating everything above and below the AI stack. And the companies that are controlling layer 3, they extract value from the entire ecosystem, from chip manufacturers to application developers. And these strategic positions create sustainable, competitive moats and pricing power across the entire AI value chain. And without this management and processing layer, there are no AI applications, no AI models, and there's no intelligent manufacturing. We don't get any floating point numbers. And the companies that control layer 3 control the entire AI economy. All right, so here's your action plan from watching today. I want you to buy now Microsoft, Oracle, and Hut 8. These are the AI factories that are currently trading like software companies. The market doesn't understand what business they're in. They really don't. And I want you to watch closely. Amazon and Google, same fundamental advantage, but wait for better entry points. They haven't corrected as much because people don't think of them as software businesses. And the moonshot play, we all love a little bit of risk, is CoreWeave. It's a pure play, misunderstood, best-in-class infrastructure that is going to sell to the highest bidder. The entire world is compute constrained. Every organization, government, and individual wants AI capabilities. And only 6 companies can deliver processing capabilities at scale. These 6 companies solve that bottleneck. Some are mispriced right now. Others will be on the next market pullback. But this fundamental scarcity creates unprecedented pricing power and sustained competitive advantages for infrastructure providers. And this is why this is the investment opportunity of the decade. Companies trading at software multiples while building trillion-dollar industrial infrastructure. The layer 3 buildout is happening right now. Trillions in capital flowing into AI infrastructure over the next decade. Literally trillions. But the investment opportunity isn't in the companies trying to build new capabilities. It's in the companies that already have what everyone else desperately needs. Most investors are chasing AI applications, but the real money is in controlling the compute that makes everything else possible. Early positioning wins. The compute bottleneck is real. And remember, the entire world is compute constrained. So today, we focused on layer 3, data infrastructure, the critical middle layer where AI processing actually happens. But remember, this is part of a 5-part layer framework. And we didn't have time today to cover layer 1 or 2, which is AI applications or models, or layers 4 or 5, chips and energy. But I have recorded detailed breakdowns of layers 4 and 5 on this YouTube channel, so feel free to go back and look at those. You want to watch them to get the complete picture. But here's what I want you to understand about layer 3. We are living through the largest infrastructure build-out in human history. Larger than the railroads, larger than electricity, and larger than the internet itself. The companies I've shown you today aren't just stocks. They're the foundation of the AI economy that will define the next decade of wealth creation. All right, so before we get into questions, I want to make sure you have everything you need to act on this opportunity. If you texted in the number, you've already gotten asked if you wanted the complete guide, but there is a 15-page guide with all the research that went into this presentation, or you can scan the QR code that'll take you to the same place. In that as well, some of you actually probably don't know this, but we have a new Friday letter. It's free. It's called the 3% letter, and it's a weekly email sent out on Fridays where I send you a short email explaining what actually happened in the market. And so you can focus on the top 3% of stocks that actually win. It's a great letter. It's short to the point, and it includes kind of background knowledge that we're thinking of internally. It's things we're watching. It's great letter, and it's free. Layer 3 infrastructure is being built right now. And the question isn't whether AI will transform everything. It's whether you'll be positioned for it. And remember, if you get one thing from today, the entire world is compute constrained. All right, guys, so that's it. If you have questions, please drop them in the live chat on the side. I'll be here for as long as I have questions. I do apologize again for the error on the URL. I promise we're going to get this right. At least this was a different issue this time than last time, but I'm still not happy about it. So we're going to get this right, and this will be a lot smoother going forward. So yeah, so if you have any questions about the AI infrastructure build out, today's presentation, or anything market capital, please drop them in the chat. I see we already have a very topical question about RXRX, which is from our digital options service. We did buy stock in an options service, and it is being held right now for currently at a loss. Hold it. Let's hold RXRX. It is down, but we do think it'll come back. It's good company, and we may have missed the initial rally that we thought would happen with it, but we do think it's a great company. So please keep holding that. All right. Well, you do have questions. I am here. I do want to. I said this at the beginning of the presentation, but I'll bring it up again here, just so everyone else who joined from that point can know. We have some very exciting stuff. We're about to launch at Markman Capital, especially for the DCC subscribers. We will be updating how the portfolio looks over the next in about a month, so it'll look a lot cleaner. It'll be more updated, and you can actually be able to click into things. But the most exciting thing that we're launching for Markman Capital, especially for DCC, is a searchable, indexed, completely sourced knowledge bank built off of Obsidian, if you're familiar with that software. And so it has all 5,000 plus of our back letters going back to 2014. That was as far as the archive went, of everything we've ever talked about. It's all tagged, bagged, sorted. And I did all tagged, bagged, and sorted. It's very exciting. And we're going to be releasing that in 2 weeks from tomorrow. But what's different about this is you've seen other competitors and people, but they offer, a data, they offer links to their past letters. The highest I've seen is 550 past letters. This is, it's 550 is pretty cute. This will be 5,000 plus back letters. And within each company, it also have our current recommendations on it. And it'll be pretty fascinating. Also, along with it, we're going to be launching a service, a LLM on top of it, so you can actually ask it questions, and it will respond as Markman Capital, and the context window will just be our letters. So no more searching and trying to find a thing. You can now ask it, and it will reference the database and go from there. Great question. Is John still involved? John is still involved. He does not do as much writing as he used to. He is more on the golf course than I would say from two years ago. This being said, we still have the same research team, same head researcher, and same people behind the scenes here. So the information quality or tact has not dropped at all. And it's actually been pretty exciting to see, because John, he's worked. I mean, I grew up with him routinely working we'll just say when I was in high school, there was never a moment when I came home where he wasn't awake, whether that be 12, 1, or 2 a.m. And it's kind of nice to see him actually get some sleep after 15, 20 years of, or 25 years really, of going really hard on Markman Capital. So he has taken some steps back, but he does oversee our content, or at least in what direction to go. But at the same time, we have the same behind the scene researchers as always, which is why you can kind of tell in the letters, our content, our passion, our drive, and our angle has not changed, because we still have the same thesis. It's been really cool to see. And also at a little bit of a point for me, it's been nice to be able to work with him for, I'm at Markman Capital now for almost five years. And it's been cool to basically be trained up by him. And now I've kind of taken over more of the behind the scenes operations, which you've seen. This is why we keep having updates and we keep doing things, because we actually have some time to build out, hopefully a better customer experience for everybody. But if anyone has ever any comments, suggestions, or questions, I'm always looking for feedback, positive or critical or anything, just to improve the product. Because I and John value all of you so much, and you've been here for, some of you have been here for 25 plus years, so we really, really value. Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Maybe. Well, I have a good one. So it's kind of an interesting situation to go over all these topics, and then to get recommended 6 companies that you've probably already bought into it at some point. You're like, all right, Joe, like at what point is Markman Capital going to go out on a limb and recommend more companies? Well, the problem is that most stocks suck, and we are trying to maintain investor discipline in buying companies that don't suck. And for us, it takes a long time for companies to reach that minimum barrier of not sucking. And especially in the AI world, especially if you went over in this presentation, is that the entire world is AI constrained, and this new technology really is being locked up by the big players. They've spent the money with NVIDIA. They know Jensen personally, so they get the allocation of all these new chips sooner than everybody else. And the problem is, whenever a new chip comes out, those companies now aren't first in line to buy those new chips. And if you remember from layer 4, our presentation, which is on the chips and hardware itself, right here, chips and memory, it's actually cheaper for companies to buy the new chips than to keep the old ones. It's crazy, right? It's because the new chips are more powerful and consistently use less energy, always. So it's literally fiscally irresponsible for these companies not to buy the latest and greatest. Literally, it's fiscally irresponsible not to buy the latest and greatest. And despite what Michael Burry tweets out every day and tells people what to do on Twitter, he has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. He's saying that the chips, actually, they lose value over 4 years, but it's not true. We have chips that are 4 years old that are being used in inference, and on. These companies keep finding uses for these chips, and inference is a big play there. So we really don't know what the top is, because the whole answer to this whole question is, how much compute capacity do we need to saturate the entire market? And the answer is, we have no idea. All we know right now is that it's not enough, not even close to enough, not even close enough for the next few years at least. So we don't know. We don't know what the upper bound of compute capacity is, but that's the only thing that could stop this train. It's actually reaching equilibrium in compute capacity. So that's why we stick to these companies. We add more. We buy more into dips, because these are the ones that are driving the change, and they are the ones that are creating wealth for their shareholders. Do I like Tesla? I absolutely love Tesla. Absolutely. It's probably one of my favorite companies in the world. And not just because I'm in Austin, Texas. I think everything they're doing is absolutely incredible. I actually demoed a Cybertruck and a Model X. I got the Tesla store to give me overnight demos with them, and I mean, the cars. If you haven't been in one yet, you have to get in one. The full self-driving is bananas. Doesn't make any sense. It's literally, you're just cruising around and it takes care of you. There's even different settings about how fast you want to go. But let's stay true to this. So Tesla, we actually think Tesla, we're going to launch a promotional series soon around Tesla, how we think it's actually the best way to get into SpaceX pre-IPO. Because I don't know about you, but I was not cool enough to get into SpaceX pre-IPO, even though most of my friends were able to, and no, I'm not bitter about it, but I was not cool enough. So how can we potentially gain a lot of money and grow our portfolios by the SpaceX IPO? The answer is Tesla, and here's why. This is really deep. If you're into all the Musk lore, this you might not have heard this already, but the reason I like Tesla so much, and the reason my wife and I are personally, despite going as well as the core holders in our portfolio, we're actually putting in money every month into Tesla right now if it goes below $400. Not an official recommendation, but what we're doing personally is because so let's just say there's actually 4 reasons here why Tesla, I think, is an amazing company pre-IPO for SpaceX. Because if we believe in Musk's vision to create a Kardashev 1 civilization, which it looks like he potentially actually has the potential to do that. Kardashev 1 civilization is a civilization that harnesses the power of the sun. What we would need is, what SpaceX would need to do this is a lot of solar panels. Who currently creates solar panels in the US? Who's the largest manufacturer? Well, surprise, it's actually Tesla. Tesla has one of the largest solar panel manufacturing facilities and capabilities out of any company in the US right now. So it would make sense that SpaceX would use Tesla to build the solar panels that will go into the satellites built by SpaceX that will eventually blanket the sun. 2, the data centers in space. So the whole prognosis about putting data centers in space is that you can heat and cool the chips more cheaply up there, and also you won't have to worry about local regulations like getting sued. Like, that's the biggest hurdle to data centers right now, is there's actually a bunch of NGOs that have been that are set up to exclusively sue data center expansions. I'm not going to get into that. It's just pretty wrong. And so if you put them in space, you got to deal with any of that. Well, guess what? This is not really well known, but Tesla is building something right now called the Terafab. I'll repeat that. It's called the Terafab, if you want to look it up. The Terafab, scheduled to be completed at the end of this year, is going to be the manufacturing capabilities of Tesla to build AI-specific chips for Tesla, but also for XAI. So when SpaceX gets the ability to actually build these data centers in space, we have Tesla creating the solar panels to power them and the chips to power the actual data center. 3rd, well, guess what? If we want to achieve Kardashev 1 civilization, we're going to need something called a mag sled. And this is basically a Japanese magnet. I'm blanking on the term right now, but the maglev trains in Japan, they go like 300 miles an hour on magnets. Well, it turns out the cheapest way to launch satellites into space is actually on a maglev sled. So you load this sled and you launch satellites into space. You can't do it from Earth, though. Earth has too high of a pull of gravity. The atmosphere is too thick. And so you can't do it from Earth. But you could do it from the moon. And that's why SpaceX pivoted specifically from going to Mars in 2026 to going to the moon first. 1, because Mars is also pretty unlikely, and if that kind of blows up, then that kind of ruins SpaceX trajectory. But 2, the moon makes the most sense for a maglev catapult, essentially, to blast spaceships to blast satellites into space. And who's going to man that manufacturing facility? Optimus Robots. Who makes the Optimus robot? Tesla does. So they have the solar panels. They make the chips. They make the robots. All of a sudden, it kind of makes sense that, hold on, SpaceX makes the rockets, satellites. Why don't they integrate? Right? That kind of makes sense. Like, why wouldn't they vertically integrate if they're all doing this together? And that brings to the fourth reason why Tesla is actually a pretty great company to potentially benefit off of the SpaceX merger. Again, this is a little bit of Musk lore, but he's a huge fan of the retail investor. Tesla's almost gone bankrupt 3 or 4 times. And who came to bat to break them out of bankruptcy? Well, it was the retail investor, especially in 2012, 2014, 2016. When that stock was tanking and Bill Gates was shorting the hell out of it, guess who stepped up? The retail investor. And he's mentioned this over and over again on the calls. And in fact, one of my best friends is Gally Russell. He runs the YouTube channel Hyperchange. I've known him since before high school. And he was actually managed to get on the call. There's a famous call, I think, in 2018, where Elon Musk brings him on as the retail and investor spokesperson, and famously, at least in our circle, kept talking to Gally over the investment banks for about 30, 40 minutes, because he said, and I quote, his questions are much better than the investment banks. And so we know he's a fan of the retail investor. And so there's been this huge talk on Twitter about him doing a reverse merger where either SpaceX buys Tesla or Tesla buys SpaceX. I think this is, quite frankly, a pretty out there situation, but it is possible. Elon has liked a few of these tweets. He tends to leave breadcrumbs of what he's thinking about online. So there is a chance for him to reward people like myself who were not cool enough to get pre-IPO shares. Because if you were to combine Tesla and SpaceX together, obviously, if you had shares of one company, you now get shares of the other company. And so, I'm fingers crossed, hope that happens, but it's kind of a long shot. The reasons that I don't think it might happen is, if you want to think about this, the combined market cap of Tesla plus SpaceX would be about 20% of the entire NASDAQ. It would be about 20% of the entire S&P 500. There hasn't been a company with that much concentration in the market since the robber baron ages, with J.P. Morgan. With John D. Rockefeller. There hasn't been that much concentration since Standard Oil, and we all know what happened to Standard Oil, right? They got broken up and became every single big oil company we know today. And so there's a good argument that there'd be an antitrust suit. This being said, if they're really generating that much value, which it kind of seems like they could be with this situation, I'm fingers crossed. So those are the 4 reasons why we love Tesla right now, especially as a way to potentially get into SpaceX pre-merger. We're going to talk about this soon within the letter itself, but there hasn't really been much newsworthy stuff to kind of bring it up topically. So we're kind of waiting a little bit for something else to happen. But yeah, love Tesla. Absolutely love Tesla. And I do plan on taking the Cybercab soon. In Austin. I'm hoping to film a little bit and just shoot it out to you guys, just shoot the experience. I'm like this much outside of the zone living here in Austin, so I'm just going to find a day to do that and film it for you guys. But yeah, that's Tesla. Do you guys have any other questions for me? I don't want to take up all your time, but we still have quite a few people here. Happy to keep ranting about Tesla or in NVIDIA, but I really appreciate all you guys coming here today. Do we have any other questions? Any at all? Appreciate you, Lena, for spearheading the conversation so far. I hope all y'all really enjoyed today. I do enjoy these live streams quite a bit, and I do think this will be pretty impactful going forward. For what it's worth, too, this is kind of a brag, but also just let you know what Markham Capital is up to. When I was presenting at the Money Show, I was able to get in front of over 350 people over 2 different talks. And I was told that my talk was the most attended talk of the entire summit up until that point, which was pretty cool. It was cool to see the energy and enthusiasm at an in-person conference for this topic. And so what you guys got here, we think is special, and it's cool to see other audiences responding well to it. So just appreciate y'all for making this possible for us to do this. We find this incredibly fascinating. And if there's ever any topics, discussions, stocks, or anything you want us to talk about or make a video about, please reach on out. I am personally behind all emails, all customer service emails. So if you send anything our way, I do see it and I do read it, and I do appreciate everyone here. So thank you so much. Well, if no one has any more questions, kind of out of tips, tricks, and surprises for you guys. We're going to be launching some more stuff soon. But really the focus. Oh, actually, I lied. We actually do have a brand new letter coming out soon. So we're actually launching, this will be in 2 weeks as well. We will be changing over foundational ETFs. It's going to be a new letter. We're very excited about it. It's still going to be the same daily end of market update that you all know and love, but we're going to be adding a portfolio of up to 70 companies there. It's more of a pick and choose of what feels right to you. We are going to have recommended entries and exits for them. But if you were ever a subscriber of our Power Elite letter that we disseminated through Weiss, it was called Disruptors and Dominators. This was by far one of our best performing letters ever. It averages about a 41% gains over the course of the lifetime of it. We've breathed new breath into it. We're calling it Compound and Conquer. And this will be our front end. We're also reducing the price to $97. So it's going to be cheaper than the $299 it's currently priced at. So $97 for the whole year. It's going to come with, out the gate, a booklet of 70 stocks that we know and love, and that we think you should be allocated to your portfolio. We're still keeping the ETF portfolio. That's going to be more of a bonus as opposed to the main thing. And we'll be releasing deep dives into the companies either once to twice a month in these longer essays. So think of these as like dominators of their niche. These are the companies you buy and hold forever. They're the Costco's, they're the Pool Corps, but they're also going to be not all of them will be tech. So this way it'll allow us to give you exposure to companies that are in the 3%, not in tech. Because Digital Creators and Consumers is our tech letter. What's kind of crazy, we've been talking about the digital transformation for so long that our prediction came true from 25 years ago. That the digital transformation swept up every single company in the S&P 500, and now every company is a tech company. So while what we were talking about was niche, it was just the tech investment portion of your portfolio. Now it's the entire market. So what's kind of funny is we started out as a niche newsletter, and now it's basically the broad market, because what we always talked about is the market now. And so we wanted to give an opportunity for investors for people who trust us to go outside of tech, and we're going to be bringing that to you soon. We're very excited for it. It's a good letter. It's a really, really good letter. Yeah, so that's kind of the only behind the scenes thing I got for you now. We're going to have a new front end letter. DCC is going to have a searchable and indexable database for everyone to look at. So it won't just be a search bar hidden behind the paywall. And if you don't know, we do release a free daily letter on our Substack. It's Markman Capital. It's substack.com/Markman Capital. It's a free daily letter. It goes into basically a topical news piece in the tech sector. That's growing pretty healthily. It's a good letter. Highly recommend checking it out. Then the other free letter, if you're not familiar with that, is our 3% letter. That is on Fridays. And if you signed up for the either by the QR code or through text for the 15-page booklet, you will be automatically signed up for that letter. It comes out every Friday, and it's by me personally. So it's a fun letter. All right, guys. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time. I appreciate all of y'all for coming here, for sticking through me to the end, and for going through our initial tech hurdle. I promise won't happen again. Well, I can't promise it, but I'm going to do everything I can to make sure it doesn't happen again, because I don't like it, and you deserve better. So thank you so much. Talk to you later.